Hey Masters, what's going on? I'm excited to share this episode with you, my friends. We just spent an hour with Mr. Adam Hergenrother, who absolutely destroyed it for us on mindset and, how to just being productive, right? And bringing talented people into your life and being, just the ability to be present and your whole life doesn't have to be around work and grinding, and it was just amazing. And then we had a special guest, Tim Paulson, jump in and share a little bit as well. And Tim is an author of multiple books. He's got a new book coming out called Totality. Get this, Tim was actually the one of the writers for the Hair Club for Men campaign. I don't know, some of you may or may not remember that back in the 80s. Geez, I think that was something I even considered back then. That was one of the best campaigns ever created. Also the author of Piranha Marketing. So it was a fantastic episode on just mindset. And, I loved one point when Adam, talked about, being lazy and says, I'm actually lazy. And I don't know if he's lazy or not. I don't think Tim didn't think he was lazy. But anyway, it's an awesome episode. He talks about overcoming the little voice in our head that's always saying these crazy, weird things to us. And some of you might have just said, what little voice? Well, that's the little voice I'm talking about. The one that just said, what little voice? My friends, this is awesome. I hope you really enjoy it. Listen to it. It is definitely worth it. Also, I want to give a shout out to my buddies, Dave and Art Matarazzo. As usual, outstanding co-hosts with running this, facilitating this. So thank you, Matarazzo brothers. Bunch of awesome people on. Brandy Williams, Mike Wiseman, so many more that, if I apologize if I'm not remembering your name at this moment, but we had just a great crew of people, and it was awesome. So much fun. Listen, today I'm releasing this. It's early morning. I'm going to release it super early, say 6 a.m. on October 12th, 2020. So if it's before 1 p.m. today, when you listen to this, I'm guessing most people will listen after. But if you happen to listen to this before 1 p.m. on October 12th, 2020, get signed up for my 1 o'clock today, Eastern Time, 35 call challenge. I don't care what business you're in. We're gonna get together for 5 days, and we're gonna make 35 contacts and have 35 conversations and generate business. My friends, go check out the site right now, 35callchallenge.com. Even if it's not that day, then we're gonna do it once a month, so you can just jump on the next one. But 35callchallenge.com, check that out, my friends. Listen, I don't really have, what else can I say? You got to enjoy this episode. It's amazing. It's awesome. And have an awesome rest of your day. You rock.
All right. So, hey, everybody, welcome to our October 8th meetup. And man, we're honored. We're blessed. We got some cool peeps with us today. We got the Matarazzo brothers, the handsome Matarazzo brothers. Just gonna get handsome. Well, your brother certainly is handsome. He's got a good haircut. I think you need to follow in his footsteps a little bit. And we got Mr. Hergenrother with us today. What's up, Adam?
What's happening?
Thanks for joining us. And
absolutely.
Some of you guys may be saying, why is this guy wearing a crown? What the heck happened to this guy, right?
I don't think anybody questions what you do anymore, David. I think they just accept it.
So I got my scepter, I got my crown. So here I'm working with Tim Paulson as a coach right now, and he's gonna try to pop on. He's gonna try. He said he's gonna do his best, and he wants to tell you about his new book called Totality. And Adam, you and him would connect because his book is based on spirituality and faith. It's really cool. But one of the things we were talking about is like, what were some of the things that in my real estate career that helped me become successful? We're able to be in Gary's mastermind and become a trainer and a coach and things like that. And it was listings. It was the fact that I was able to always take listings, and it kind of occurred. So Tim's like, then how do we get you back to where you want to go or get you to the highest level? And he said, you got to focus on what you're good at. And so he came up with the Listing King. So now we're going to build this whole campaign around the Listing King. So just so you know who Tim is, he was the guy that was behind the whole campaign for Hair Club for Men. Remember Hair Club for Men?
Yeah.
Isn't that cool? Yeah. And he's the co-author of Piranha Marketing. Has anybody checked out Piranha Marketing?
Yeah, sure.
Have you heard it? Oh, yeah, I know Mike Wiseman. Mike Wiseman, thanks for joining us, bro. How's it going?
It's going great. I don't know if you can hear me or not. I'm on my phone.
I can hear you. Mike's probably building websites or something right now as we're talking, or doing something, or building a funnel, or doing something.
Having a bit of a windstorm in Maine, so our internet is down. So I'm on my mobile. So.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for joining us, man. Let me do this. So again, the crown thing, you're gonna start hearing a lot more about it in the Listing King. I'm gonna talk more about it. It'll be more succinct when I talk about it in the future. It's the first time I've even done this. So that's it. You guys can just from now on, call me the Listing King. All right. Thank you. All right. Yes, sir. That's what it's all about, listings. All right. So now we're going to talk about Mr. Hergenrother. So here's the way we're going to do this today. I'm going to read the bio. David and Art are our co-hosts. By the way, you guys watching that UFC event this weekend? Is that this weekend?
Yeah.
Khabib? That's a good one, huh?
Adam looks like he's in a sauna cutting weight.
Yeah,
are you fighting on that card, Adam? Are you on that card
Adam
this
could
weekend?
Probably fight in that card.
Yeah, that's a sick card. I may have to hook up with you guys after so that we can talk about if we're going to get together or something on that, because that looks like an amazing card. All right, awesome. So back to Adam, and people will keep popping in, so we'll just keep letting people in as we go. All right, so Adam is built a $1 billion, that's with a B, dollar organization in less than 10 years by creating a culture where personal growth and work-life integration come first. Adam thrives on taking on physical challenges, including Bikram yoga, hiking, Ironman races. We talked earlier about how he kind of coerced me into doing one, which was probably the best thing I ever did in my life, or one of the best things, not the best, but one of them. I mean, meeting my wife, having kids, those things are right up there too. But, that was pretty awesome for growth, for personal growth, doing that race. And you can talk more about that, Adam, if you want after. You fuel your mind with meditation. You do 40 minutes of meditation a day. You still on the TM daily, twice a day?
Yeah, I do TM twice a day, and I added probably another half an hour of some different types of meditation into my day at this point. So I'm up over a little hour.
That's insane. So I'm still doing the two twice a day, 20.
Awesome.
I don't even see how I could possibly add another half hour in this. So you'll have to talk to us about that.
So basically, you just meditate all day.
That's why. I am up in Stowe in my mountain house. That's what I do up here, right? Bring my son up. Actually, it's Thursday nights are our son daddy night. So I take my son up here on Thursdays, just him and I, and we play like flashlight tag and Nerf wars, and so it's a really great experience. Why you might hear him pop in here and there on this, but it's awesome to come up here with just him and I.
Awesome. So let me finish this thing up. So you're big meditation, you're a big family man. You love to spend as much time as possible with your family in the outdoors. You said all of this is simple, not easy. Life is hard. Business is hard. There are daily struggles to overcome. It's about finding the gift in all of life's experiences and understanding that you have the power to unleash your joy. Adam lives in South Burlington with his wife, Sarah, and 3 children, Sienna, Usher, and Madeline. Dude, thanks for joining us today. So before we get started, here's how we're going to do this. I'll ask a question or so. Dave, Art, you guys are the co-hosts here, so we'd love you guys to be engaged in this conversation as well. And then we're just going to open it up. We'd love to hear from everybody. Oh my gosh, Tim Paulson's on. There he is. So, Tim, I don't know how are you doing on time, brother? You going to hang out for a little bit, or do you want to?
I'm going to join you for a few minutes and enjoy being in the presence of royalty.
Yeah. So I was telling him earlier how this is your thing that you helped me create. So, Adam, we're going to get back to you. But okay. Tim is the guy I was talking about, who is the guy that actually created the campaign for Hair Club for Men back in the day, and the co-author of the Piranha Marketing.
Yeah, Nightingale Conant audio program with Joe Polish. Yeah,
and it's the most sold, right? And tell us about that.
Well, so that program we did 2004, Nightingale Conant. So anybody remember Nightingale Conant? Raise your hands. Nightingale Conant. They were like the Audible today, audible.com. Nightingale Conant was the hard copy of that for like 50 years. So Nightingale Conant came to Joe Polish and me, and they said, "Hey, we'd like you to do an audio program." But their program sold for $69. We said, "We're not doing a program for $69. I mean, that's ridiculous." So they said, "Okay, so what do you suggest?" So $300. Well, that's like how many times? 4 times more expensive than anything we've ever done. I mean, what are you talking about? So we did this audio program. It's called Piranha Marketing: The 7 Success Multiplying Factors to Dominate Any Market You Enter. And $299. It became the best-selling marketing program they've ever done. Outsold programs they did with Jay Abraham, Dan Kennedy, what's his name? His name is anyway. All the marketers that they've done, Seth Godin, all the others that they've done, ours outsold them, and I believe it was in great part because it was so much more expensive. People equate quality with price.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, now it's available on audible.com for like 1 credit, the cost of 1 credit, so $15 or something. But it's still a really.
I would encourage everybody to go out and get Piranha Marketing. It's amazing, and again, if you have Audible, it's 1 credit. Otherwise, it's like $40, I think.
Yeah.
So, and Tim, you have a new book coming, and I want to get to Adam. But you have a new book coming out. I know you are limited on time, so that's why I wanted to jump to you.
Yeah,
Do you want to tell them a little bit about your book?
I wanted to hear what the king.
Okay, well, I didn't know how much time you had. I know you said you were going to try to jump on in
Well,
between
I've got
stuff.
a few minutes. Yeah, I've been in a Genius Network meeting all day with Joe Polish and a bunch of other people. I wrote this book. That's when I was young and moderately handsome, 13 years ago. Love and Grow Rich: How to Love Your Way to Life's Riches, and. But I'm writing a new book. So get this title: Totality, the art of becoming all God created you to be, with an emphasis on art. So I'm an artist. Actually, these paintings I've done, and 16 chapters in the book. Each chapter features one of my pieces of art. This is one of the chapters. This is one of the chapters, 16 of them. So Sally Hogshead, I don't know if any of you have ever heard of Sally Hogshead. She's a Hall of Fame speaker. She's a great great author. She said at a Genius Network meeting 3-4 years ago, "It's better to be different than it is to be better." And that really went to my heart. It was like, oh my gosh, I'll never be the best artist on the planet, but I can be I can be a different artist. So instead of just painting and trying to sell paintings, I learn success principles from each piece of art, then write about it. And then I turn it. Now, this particular book, The Art of Becoming All God Created You to Be, totality represents becoming all you're capable of becoming, the next best level of yourself, and so forth. So I could talk a lot more about it. All right. Anyway, that book's coming. It's in its last edit, so it's coming.
Awesome.
You're stealing the show, man.
I don't want to steal the show.
Well, hey, listen, these guys are. So you didn't hear who Adam is, his bio before you jumped on. This guy built a $1 billion organization in less than 10 years. He should be in the Genius Network, honestly.
Wow.
In the Genius X Network, right? That's the next level. Next level up. So are you familiar with that network, Adam? Genius Network?
No, I'm not, but yeah, I love the paintings.
I got a quick question for Adam. When you say $1 billion, in what industry is that? Which one of your businesses, or is that the totality of all of them?
Oh, he's using the word totality now. See that?
Yeah, I like it. I mean, really, it's like the same thing of like if you read my article today that Inman just published out about KWX, it's like the same conglomerate thing about Adam Hergenrother Companies is just a conglomerate of 5 major organizations. And we've already hit $1 billion this year. That was probably a couple of years ago that bio was written. But yeah, I mean, it's totality of all the organizations. I think HRG in itself is doing about $100 million a month right now. And then I own a bunch of market centers and BlackRock and healthcare campuses and all that stuff. But
what are the 5 companies or industries?
Yeah, I mean, there's 5 major. I have like 70 LLCs or more. But the major
70?
71, 72 or something like that. But the major, those are all just kind of holding shells, different things that feed other companies for tax purposes and stuff. But the major companies, you have HRG, you have the brokerages, 4 brokerages now. You have BlackRock Construction, which has 3 different divisions to it. We have a holding division. We have a luxury residential, a production residential. We have a commercial division. And then our holding, we have healthcare campuses, which we build healthcare campuses, which is independent living, Alzheimer's care, senior living, and you put them on there, and we don't operate them. We build them and then operate them to another or lease them to another operator. Yeah.
So you got all these things going on. I've known you for years, man. And you tend to do more like meditation, free time, spend time with the family, vacation, travel. How do you have 71 LLCs, all these organizations going, but do all that other stuff at the same time?
Well, I think the simple answer, and we can unpack it, the simple answer is that I have really good people around me. And I mean, that's ultimately what it is. And, the funny thing is when I got into real estate in 2006, as an individual, I borrowed $8,000 to start my first business. And I worked for 3 years. I worked 12-hour days, 7 days a week, and just didn't stop. And then ultimately, I'm inherently lazy when it comes to anything that anybody else can do. So I don't know why I just was like that. I started hiring people early on, and I made a lot of bad hires. But I always thought that if I could just make this amount of money, I didn't have to do it, that'd be great. And so I just started hiring people, and I went through a lot of trials and errors. And as I found out when I started hiring some really good talent, that I actually end up getting both. You end up getting time and you get a return on your money and your investment. I think investing into a person will give you a far greater return than anything ever will, unless you bought like Apple stock like 40 years ago. But besides like getting lucky in the stock market that way, investing into a person is going to give you the greatest return that you're ever going to get. And so once I started kind of getting that visceral feeling from investing into people, then it just kind of led into me in 2010 to really taking my entire life about dedicating it into learning other people, behavior. And you know the story a little bit, David. I spent 3 years in behavior and NLP and every single Tony Robbins and Chloe Madonna psychology. I went and took every single possible course that was out there and just basically dedicated myself to be able to do that, to learn about other people and myself. And then you just apply that into your businesses.
So anybody, obviously Dave, Art, if you have questions, Tim, do you have a question for Adam?
Yeah, Adam.
Tim, you deal with some high level people, man. I mean, you guys hang out with like Peter Diamandis and just ridiculous people. Yeah.
Well, let me name some of the people we hang out with. So Peter Diamandis, that's a good one. David Hill.
Thank you, sir.
That's all I need
yeah.
to say. That's all I need to say.
That's it. Yes.
But Adam, actually, if you don't know about Genius Network, I'd love to tell you about it sometime.
Sure.
So,
yeah, absolutely.
Can I give you my email address and you can?
Or David can send it to me after. I can certainly do that, and love to connect.
Great, that'll be terrific.
Yeah, absolutely. I got.
Do you have a question for Adam, or anything you can think of? No. All right. What about you guys, DNA or anybody else?
Well, I think to answer the question about time, I mean, you hire really good people. I mean, I think everyone's going to tell you that, but I think the problem with most entrepreneurs that I see is when you hear the word talent, you only know the highest level of talent based on the highest level of talent that you've personally led. And so I think talent is just a underrated word, not in a wrong way. Just people, when they hear that David hires somebody that's talent, or Tim hires somebody that's talent, or Gary Keller hires somebody that's talent, or whoever that is, Jeff Bezos hired a talented person, it means something different to every individual. And so I think the goal is that you're constantly increasing your awareness of what talent means to you in your organization. And at some level, you reach a point where you just start using your checkbook to hire really good, talented people that come in there that really just transform an organization for you. And you literally start feeling like an imposter or fraud. And this is very common for people that when they first start getting into it and you're hiring good people, you feel like a little bit of a fraud because you're making all this money and all these people are really doing the work and you're not actually doing it. And it's a tough spot for people because entrepreneurs like to make things a lot more complicated than they are. It's almost like they want to make it complicated just to make it seem like nobody else can do it because it is this complicated. And the reality is business building is all about simplicity. And the more clear you are, the more clarity somebody can have in your organization, the faster they're going to get the result. It's just like when you know exactly how to get to a destination, you go there a lot faster. And so your job as a leader is to not only organize yourself in the most efficient way to get the best outcome, but then once you do that through self-leadership, you then start looking at everybody in your entire organization and you ask the question of how I can be the most organized and efficient with all the employees that I have to produce the highest outcome based on the people that I have. And when you're constantly asking yourself that question, you're refining not only the individuals, but you're refining what they're actually working on. And so that you're slimming away most of what they do throughout a day to focus on one narrow task. And that narrow task is going to have the biggest exponential growth in your organization based on where you're at.
So I want to go even before that. So there has to be a point, and this is an area that I see a lot of entrepreneurs struggle, including myself, is giving things away, like letting, and a lot of entrepreneurs are going to do everything themselves, right? They're going to try to figure it all out. So there must have been a place where you decided, you know what, I don't want to do anything anymore. Yeah. Or not that I want to do anything, but you know what I mean? I'm going to give everything away, let people do their jobs. Have you always been like that? Or was there a place where you just made that decision? Like, how does somebody make that decision?
Yeah. I think people struggle with that because they feel like when they hire somebody, they need to do their job. And the reality is you hire somebody to take off your job. And as a leader, leaders don't mean that you are actually employing what that person is doing. So you don't have to do their job. What you need to do is you need to make sure that you're demonstrating the principles in the culture and the ethos that your organization speaks. And however you do that, you can do that in Ironman, or you can do that in your job, or you can do that in recruiting, or wherever, or in your messaging and your branding. And for me, it always has come very, I don't want to say naturally. I said before, I'm inherently lazy when it comes to anything that somebody else can do. And I'm really good at giving it to somebody else and having them just take it off from me. So I never really had that challenge that, in our book, The Founder and Force Multiplier, we get a lot of people and CEOs and EAs that talk to us like they won't give this up. I never really had that problem because I never really wanted to do anything. And ever since I started in the business, I never wanted a job. I always wanted to be able to insert myself into my organizations and in my life wherever I wanted to and whenever I wanted to. And that's a relative freedom. You have relative financial freedom, relative spiritual freedom, relative physical freedom. There's the absolute freedom. At some point, we can talk about consciousness. But in the relative world, if you're playing in there, you can equip yourself in a way so that you don't ever have a job into your organization. That's just been my starting position from the beginning. And as I build organizations, I'm not the one who's building them. I always just hire the people that come in and start taking them off, because people get addicted to the income. And if you allow yourself to start an organization and you're doing it and you're doing 2 organizations, you're probably so equipped as an entrepreneur and so driven that you'll figure out a way to get it done. But the thing is now you've glued yourself to these organizations and you've started living your lifestyle based on the income that's coming in, instead of relying and living off the income that comes in from the business generating the profits versus from you having a job in the business.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm trying to say. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Dan Sullivan, a strategic coach, I love this quote, and it's consistent with what you're saying, I think, Adam. Dan Sullivan, I don't know how many of you are familiar with Dan Sullivan, a strategic coach. Absolutely brilliant guy. He's been in Genius Network for like 8 years.
Awesome.
But he says, delegate everything except genius.
Yeah.
So that you can't delegate, that it's like, it's that which is your genius, is you're so good at. It's what you get paid $10,000 an hour to do. Don't delegate that. Delegate everything else.
Yeah.
And Rory Fatt, who is he's one of my clients. He serves the restaurant industry, and he says, you know what? You can't make $1 million a year as a restaurant owner if you're in the kitchen chopping carrots.
Yeah.
You can't make, and it goes back to Michael Gerber and the E-Myth. It's like, work on your business, not in your business, So Adam, I like what you're saying. Delegate. It's not that you're lazy. You're just, why would I do something that I can hire other people to do? Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So well said.
Thanks. And you're right. I think people get stuck though in that pattern of thinking that they need to be the one doing it or outworking somebody that they've hired. And I always remind them, like, you hired somebody for that job. Why don't you just allow them to do it? You can lead and coach and elevate a person, But when you hire them, after about 90 days, you go through the first 30, 60, 90 days, you should be turning over that job. And that person should be ripping that job away from you to the point that if you don't walk away, that person should leave. And that's when you know you've got somebody that's ready, willing, and able to take your company to the next level.
I think there's also a place where you have to get to mentally where you make a commitment that I'm going to give this away and I'm not going to, no matter, and if that's not, and then if it doesn't work, then you just have the wrong person doing the job, right? I mean, is that, because it is really mental too, because a lot of it, I couldn't give stuff away for years and years because I didn't know I was supposed to. I didn't know better. Nobody taught me that.
Yeah. Well, it's
I didn't
stuff
go to
like
any
this
classes that, you know.
I think people, if they want something, they'll go figure out a way to get it. And sometimes they have to be introduced to it. But I mean, I think it comes down to people have made poor hires in the past because they have no idea how to actually hire somebody. And that poor hire has cost them time and money in the negative way, instead of actually giving them time and providing a return. And so when they have that experience, they then chalk it up in their mind and some mental imagery that they've collected through a collage of images that keeps resurfacing in their mind over and over again, that they can't be a leader or they can't hire. And so they just hold on to that thought instead of understanding that it's just a thought, and that's the nature of the mind, is just to produce thoughts anyways. And so it's just a thinking pattern. And instead of letting that go and getting back into it, but you're right, David, where you have people just have to mentally commit when they want to truly lead through other people. In most small businesses or entrepreneurs, they have built a nucleus around them. They built an organization around their principles and how they act. And it's not built on business principles. It's built on what they need to compensate for them. And then when they try to leave or try to put somebody into that system, the system's built on every one of their actions or every one of their decisions that they make, and it works. But the minute they try to remove themselves or put somebody else into it, it doesn't work because it's not built on business systems. It's built on a personal system or an ecosystem for somebody. And that becomes a challenge with individuals when they try to scale a company, is that the business principles or the rules of businesses haven't really been applied to what they've been putting forth together. Instead, they've been, it's like if you have a football team that has a certain play for a certain type of quarterback and you put a running quarterback instead of a passing quarterback in there, the plays don't match up. And so you have to change the plays. And that becomes very difficult for people to understand, versus if you just built an organization that people could read and understand the plays, and you can insert anybody any point in time into it to be able to push the organization forward.
So as a leader, where you are now in your organization, what do you spend most of your day doing, and how many hours a week are you actually working on running your business?
Hold on a second, buddy. Yeah, I mean, the hours, that comes up a lot with people in a few minutes, bud. You know, that comes up a lot with the hours work thing. I mean, most people know I have a very structured schedule. I work Monday through Thursday. And I'm done at 1:00 on Thursday. And today's Thursday, I always come up with my son, Asher. Him and I spend, say hi. Him and I spend Daddy Day together up here at our mountain house and Stowe house, and kind of come up here for the day. So what I really found though, guys, is that I had a 5 or 6 day work week that I actually condensed down into 4.5 days. Most people, or 3.5 days, most people are not actually maximizing their time. What they're doing is they're allowing disruptions, or they're allowing things to just basically work the entire day. They're not measuring their day in minutes. They're measuring their day in weeks or months. And if you actually look at the day before you go on vacation, how much you get done. And the reason why a lot of times you get things done is because you feel like you have this badge to be able to walk around and almost be kind of an asshole to people by saying, I can't do that right now. I can't do that right now. I can't do that right now. And all you're doing is saying no with like a badge because it's the day before vacation, and you get a lot done. So for me, I front load my weeks a lot. Mondays is all about organizations. I meet with the key leaders and CEOs or presidents of all my organizations on Monday. On Tuesday, I go in there and I have individual meetings with certain people, and I do a couple of group meetings. And from the moment I walk in at 8:30 in the morning to my office until I leave at 4:30, besides the break in the middle of the day, I'm in meetings and it's scheduled. And so it just shows up. I deal with it. I handle it. Wednesday, I do all content. Thursdays, I do talent meetings or on podcasts or whatever it is that I'm doing for that day. And then Thursday afternoon and Friday are flex days. It doesn't mean I'm not working. I don't have anything structured in there. But what I do is listen to a ton of input so I have more output. I'm listening to audible books. I'm listening to books. I'm thinking. I'm journaling a lot. I'm drawing out plans. I'm working on the business, and I'm working on the clarity for myself so I can explain it even better to everybody in my organization. I'm also looking for inefficiencies constantly so that we're always organizing our businesses in a more efficient way to produce a better output. And that's just if people understand the organization principles of those and constantly are working on self-leadership before they lead themselves, then that stuff becomes a staple in your life.
What's your number one book recommendation if somebody's trying to follow in your shoes and build, say $1 billion business or businesses? What would you recommend for a book?
Love and Grow Rich. It's written.
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
There you go. Love and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
I love it. That was perfect.
The sales playbook too. Let me get.
Yeah, exactly.
It just depends. Totality. I think that's the other one.
Yeah, it just depends on what you want out of your business. I mean, if you want to be, there's a lot of sales books and business books and wealth books that you can read. For me, business is a conduit for personal growth, and I believe that the reason why that we're in business is so that we can work on ourselves for self-realization. And so I just use it as that. And so I spend 90% of my time in books and consciousness, Michael Singer or Adishante or Gangaji, or reading about the yogi of autobiography of Yodi or the Bhagavad Gita or any of those type of books, because what they do is they allow you to be a fierce competitor in the business world because you're no longer attached to any outcome person.
Masters, I'm going to get you right back to the show. Give me 45 seconds. Hey, don't forget to get signed up for 35 call challenge. Whether you do it today or you sign up for next month, it's going to run every month. Go to the website, check it out, 35callchallenge.com. Get registered. We'd love to work with you for 5 days. It's the best 5-day training you will ever attend. Hey, don't forget about our meetup next month, by the way, November 12th. We're moving it to 4 p.m. Eastern, so it'll work better, hopefully for a lot of people. And so get signed up. Go to DavidsMeetUp.com. Get signed up for November 12th. Working on my good friend Jarek Robbins to be there. Unbelievable human being. November 12th, 4 p.m., DavidsMeetUp.com. And don't forget about my sponsors, guys. Vulcan7.com for all your expired for sale by owner needs. Check them out at Vulcan7.com/path to mastery for a special opportunity. I know I went a little over 45 seconds. My bad. Enjoy the rest of the show.
In the minute a business owner can let go of the need to personally gain something from growth in their business, they gain a perspective and clarity that's larger than anything else or any business book will be able to do. The strategies are always there. You can find any strategy in any book, but if you're not framed prospectively in the right position, then you're just going to be chasing the wrong thing. And so our entire organization of the 600 plus people that we have, we focus on, we call it just personal growth, but it's really just consciousness growth or changing your perspective or seeing the world differently. And so I would, if you want to follow my footsteps from there, and I'm sure other people have a lot of different things, you can start with a lot of Michael Singer books because it gets you a perspective. He's an individual who took an enlightenment path, but also built a $3.2 billion organization and was never attached to any outcome. And I think most business owners suffer, or they're trying to build a business that they can't wait to get out of, or they're trying to build a life that they can't wait to get, to the weekends, or they have an organization they can't wait to sell. I just take the opposite approach and say, why would you want to build any of that? Why don't you build a life that you want to live in every moment? Why wouldn't you have a business that you're excited to be at every single day? And what you find at the end of the day is that the only reason why people are not experiencing that is because of the suffering that the mind causes. And so once you can get past the mind and understand that the nature of the mind is just to produce thoughts, like a blender is to produce blended products, you just start to see the mind for what it is, and you start to gain clarity in your life that produces a completely different output so that you can go out there with clarity on building your business, with clarity on providing direction. And on top of all of that, you start to become a shrewd business owner with your capital because you no longer need it to, you're no longer using the exterior world to feed you. When you are fed from within, you're feeling such a state of energy and enthusiasm and joy that you go out and create and play in the form world. You no longer need the form world to turn you on. And so when you get to a place where you're using all of your internal energy as just enthusiasm and joy, you go out there and you build this massive business or whatever business you want to be, or be a school teacher, but you're doing it with this lightheartedness. It doesn't mean there's challenges that don't show up. It doesn't mean there's not problems in your day. It's just they no longer intoxicate you. You're able to see them differently. You're able to approach them with clarity. And most importantly, you just enjoy your life a hell of a lot more.
Mm. So I'm gonna give a shout out to BJ Fogg's book, Tiny Habits. I just received it. Absolutely phenomenal. I received this book a week ago, and since then it's got me back on track, waking up early again and refusing to hit my snooze button. So if my alarm clock goes off, I'm getting out of bed.
Yeah, buddy.
And if I'm going to sleep later, then I'm setting my alarm clock to go off at a later time. And it came just from reading, I'm only 40 pages into it, and I've already gotten that from it. It's been amazing. And the tired is only in my head. Yeah. It's called Tiny, and he'll be on my podcast too, before.
Yeah.
Not too far out. So BJ Fogg, Tiny Habits. I think he's part of the network with Tim and these guys, right?
This network, yeah. I was just talking to him an hour ago.
Yeah,
totally cool.
There you go. So a few things, and then I have one more question for Adam, and then I want to just open it up. So next month, we had 70 people register for this today. We don't have 70 on right now, so I'm not sure exactly what happened there. We got a bunch of people on Facebook watching, but one thing I've heard is the time is a little late for a lot of people. So starting in November, we're going to be moving it to 4 o'clock. So we're going to go from 4 to about 5:15, 5:30. So that's one thing. And then Jarek Robbins, if you guys know Jarek, friend of mine, son of Tony Robbins, we're 85%. He's going to be our guest next month. So it's going to be awesome. We'll have Jarek on. And anything else I want to say? Yeah, I think that's really about it. So my final question for Adam, and then I'm going to open it up. I'd love to hear some of you guys' questions as well, or Adam would love to hear some questions. But, why is it important? Like when I went through your project, you made everybody take a health and a track. Like I ended up doing the triathlon track. And at first I was like, man, I don't feel like doing this. I didn't really get the point. And then the meditation. Why is that so important? I know we've been talking about all this other stuff with business building, but why do you start up? Why do you make people start with something like that?
Well, it first of all, it kind of goes back to the book that you're holding up. I mean, when you are forced to make a change, first of all, you're in a body and you're given a gift of a body. So you might as well take care of it. I believe everyone has a certain genetic makeup that you can maximize. And so if you're given a genetic makeup that gives you 80 years, you might as well put food in your body and exercise to a point so you can maximize your genetics and feel amazing while you're here. The second component of this is it's just such a mental fitness exercise. There's every day. I mean, people think that I love to exercise. And I know we talked a lot about this in Project U every day I wake up and my mind still says, you don't need to exercise today. Right. And so what you're starting, self-mastery is overcoming that voice inside your head. And so what physicality starts to do is in the morning, you start to win the battle of the mind. And as you do that, I mean, as you're sitting on your bike for a 3-hour session, 30 minutes into this, your mind's going, you can stop. You're beating and realizing that you don't need to listen to your mind constantly. Your body is so much more capable of it. And then on top of that, you're accomplishing things that you never thought you could accomplish. You're pushing your body to a level that you never thought you could push it to in whatever realm that you decide to do. That may be a 5K for somebody, or an Ironman, or just walking around the block to start with. You're constantly using your body to push yourself to learn tiny habits that are going to leak into your life. Secondly, it's healthy for you, and you can listen to a lot of Audible books and while you're doing all of this, so you're gaining that knowledge in it. And then also at the same time, you tend to eat a lot better. So when you're exercising, you start focusing on the whole you. And then the other thing is, if you have a great morning, I mean, I've written a lot of stuff and talked to people about this a lot I wake up about 4 o'clock every morning, about 2 hours of personal development, and then about 2 hours of exercise. And I spend some time with my kids. And then from there, by the time I get to my office by 8:15, 8:30, like a problem can show up and you're just ready to tackle it. versus like we show up in our offices 15 minutes before we got up, and we're supposed to be creative, or we're supposed to be tackling problems. You need to set yourself up for peak performance. And that's ultimately what you're doing in that world.
All right. Awesome. And I want to acknowledge everybody that's here too. So thank you all for joining us and investing your time here. Really, really appreciate it. I think Mimosa, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right. She was the first person on. So thank you for being the first person on here. I don't know if you have any questions for Adam or not, but we'd love to. Any questions for Adam?
Yeah, I would love to have a partner like him. He is so full of energy, and that's how I am. I've been like that all my life, and I really, it makes it. I've been in manager position for most of my life, and building the team and building the trust, this is the most important thing. It's by elevating your people and bringing them where you need to be. I think it's a recipe for success. And I'm looking for that in real estate. I'm new, and thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. It was very, very good.
I think in terms of real estate, and you want to build an organization, one of the most important things to do is to make.
Is there a background, or is that just me that's here?
No, there's a background.
All right.
Stop now.
All right.
I think one of the most important things you can do as you're building a 1099 organization is to make an agent's life easier. People tend to complicate agents' life when they bring them on. But if you actually just focused on as I said before, entrepreneurs in our own selves, we almost make things so complicated to make it feel like nobody else can do it. And we're not building Neuralink with Elon Musk. So we don't have to complicate things. In fact, the best organizations are the simplest. And that's what you want to do is you're building an organization with agents. You literally want to make their life so simple and so consistent that you can produce a consistent positive outcome.
Thank you very much for elaborating on that. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Yeah. And just while for people that are interested, I am doing next week it's called 35 Call Challenge. So you can go to the website 35callchallenge.com, and what we're going to do is we're going to connect. What I've realized over the years is if you have 35 conversations with people, it doesn't matter who you're talking to. That's about the number. If you have the average 35 conversations, it will turn into one piece of business. So what we're doing is we're going to put a group together. We're going to work together for 5 days, an hour a day. We're going to focus on for sale by owners. So if anybody's interested in that, you're welcome to join us. It starts this Monday, the 12th. We're going to do it once a month with a different focus each month. So 35callchallenge.com. I just want to throw that out there. So I don't know, Manuza, if that's something that, talks to you, speaks to you, you're welcome to join us, or anybody else listening to this. I'm also going to get this out on the podcast so anybody can join us. All right. Awesome. So that said, Moderato brothers have been really quiet today. What's going on with you guys?
Hey, Adam, we got to get you on the Modern American Dream podcast. So, Dave, can you make an email intro?
Well, you guys are right here, man. Just do what you got to do. Yeah, of course I can.
Intro. I have a question. So, let's take this way down to ground zero. It's a two-part question. Have you ever had a time when you only had $1,000 in your bank account, or something significantly small, and your mindset was small, and where you were starting out was small, and you couldn't see a means to an end? Have you ever?
It was 8 years old.
Have you ever had that? Have you ever had that kind of situation?
Yeah, I mean, I borrowed $8,000 to start my first business, so I was in the hole when I first started off. And frankly, from 2006 to 2009, I was building organizations, and I had no idea the people that I was hiring. I had no idea how I was going to pay for them. I had no idea. I mean, I probably had anywhere between $5,000 and $30,000 in the bank, but it'd be $30,000 one day, then $5,000 the next day. So I was running on paper thin, and frankly, it could have gone the other way. I could have failed. I mean, I was running on a ledge that I was tiptoeing on, and I made some moves early on that I look back now, I'm like, wow, that was aggressive, and it worked out. But I always, the minute you decide to jump out of a plane, you're no longer thinking about jumping out of a plane. You're thinking about how do I survive? And so for me, I've always kind of pushed myself into the arena. And once I'm in there, I've always kind of figured it out. And I think you guys would too. And anybody that's listening to this is, if you're listening to this, you're curious about and you're passionate about building yourself, which is ultimately going to allow you to, once you're in the arena, you just can't stop. You may go a completely different direction. I mean, understand this: life is in the lead, and it's a dance. And life's a dance, and she's always in the lead. And if you're willing to follow that lead and be open to it, it's going to take you down the path that you need to go. So yeah, there's many times where I've thought small, or my thinking wasn't the level that it is, or I can clearly articulate things now that 10 years ago, I wouldn't even have an idea of what I was talking about, but I was going through those different things.
That's awesome. And here's the second part of that question.
Hey, hold on. I feel like, you guys never invited me to be on your podcast, man. I feel like my feelings are hurt.
You're on.
I was on? Oh, my bad. All right. Well, all right. My bad. Hey, Brandy Davis just joined us, by the way. It's a rock star agent out of Maryland area. What's going on, Brandy? All right, cool. Sorry about that,
everybody.
Dave. All right, and then the second part of that is, do you remember when you made your first $1 million, and how did that feel in comparative to when you were like in the 8 to 35,000 and that thing's fluctuating? Was the stress, like, what did that feel like to you? Do you remember it vividly, or when you got there, was it like, this is not what I thought it was going to be?
Yeah, that's a great question. You're talking about $1 million net, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, when I was 27 years old, I made $500,000 in net income. And that was the number for me, maybe $1 million for you. For me, it was $500,000. And once I was going to make $500,000, the world was going to come down to me. It was going to sit in my lap, and it was going to give me this feeling, and it was going to get everything that I want, and it was going to be perfect, and I was never going to have a problem, and I had arrived. And I remember that year that I made it, I sat down with my mom, who's the most unassuming person ever, and I told her, I was like, hey, I made like $500,000. And I was very hubris at this time too. I was like, I'm in Vermont, I make this amount of money, like, you should kiss my shoes type thing. And I laugh about it now. It was so ridiculous, but I was. And my mom's like, oh, that's great. And she moved on. And in that moment, it was a gift, because I realized that people just don't care. And I was building money to show people that I could build money, and not for the intrinsic value of what money can do. And so at that moment, I actually got a little depressed, and I realized that I've been chasing this since I was 16. And now that it's here, I didn't arrive anywhere. There's no new feeling. There's no new moment. A tree didn't come down and sing to me. Nothing happened. I didn't get injected with some serum that made me feel better. And so I realized in that moment that I wanted to build a business, but I knew that I was never going to build a business and thinking that I was going to arrive, or I was never going to do anything in the exterior world that I thought was going to give me something different that was already inside me. And so what most people do is that they go an indirect way of trying to get what you want. People want $1 million net because they think it's going to give them a feeling of some sort. And yes, it makes your life easier. There's no question about that. But I can tell you, it doesn't make you happier. Maybe happiness is an expression of, it gives you happiness in moments. But if you're looking for joy, the joy, that inner peace that's in your life, that's never going to come for any sustained period of time from any person, any business, or any dollar amount that you ever have in your life. And so if you really are after that absolute truth, that's an inward reflection. That's an inward responsibility in a consciousness growth. It would be like trying to go to a rock and get in water. It just doesn't work. And so that's why people keep they chase after something, they chase after the next, they play this linear life of trying to get the next thing after the next thing after the next thing. And for a moment, you feel good. And then your mind goes, oh, but you know what? You need that now. You need that. Oh, you're on vacation. You should buy a house here on vacation. All it's doing is taking you out of the direct experience of life, and you're not experiencing life. You're experiencing the narration of the mind telling you what life is. And so if you really want to feel that joy and enthusiasm that you were looking for, that's going to come from you internally letting a lot of things go, so that can rise up naturally, and where you don't need the world to turn you on. That's a long conversation for us to have at some point, or you can check out, I go into a lot of depth in this in our podcast, Business Meets Spirituality. And I go into that a lot in this, and a lot of our writing reflects consciousness growth.
What's the name of the podcast?
It's called Business Meets Spirituality.
Yeah, you guys should have Adam on the show. So, because you guys got a good podcast and you can help him promote his podcast as well. So
I got like a minute left, David.
I'll connect you guys via email. So, well, Adam has a 1 minute. So anybody have a 1 minute question for him?
I got my little guy over here ready to.
Sharon. The microphone's not working. My my AirPods. So.
Do you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you hear me now? Oh, okay. I just want you guys to know. I just came from the gym, did a 10-mile bike ride.
Nice.
Nice.
Right before this meeting. And in regards to what you just said, Adam, right before my 10-mile bike, I was on the phone trying to hire people to promote my social media platform. So I definitely think that hiring good people for your company is the move, you know?
Yeah.
So thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Dude, Adam, again, appreciate you, man. Thanks for investing the time. I think Adam's time is worth like $600,000 an hour. So Monterosso brothers owe Adam $600K.
I know how
billion will give you $600K.
Yeah. I know how difficult it is to put these things on. So David, thanks for doing what you're doing and always willing to teach anybody and help anybody. So I appreciate all you guys. We'll connect
thanks,
too.
Brother.
You can connect them with me and we'll look for the email.
All right, awesome.
All right, awesome.
All right. See you guys.
All right. So,
Thank you.
all right. So, hey, I'm going to just share something and I'd love to get some takeaways from you guys and we'll wrap it up. So the time I experienced what Adam was talking about was I was part of his Project U group and I had to do an Ironman race, and the amount of training that goes into doing that race is unbelievable. Like I shared earlier before we started recording about, you know, having to learn how to swim and going through that part of it. And then the, you know, the 3-4 hour bike rides or the just being on a stationary bike for 3.5 or 4 hours, you know, just how much of a grind that can take. But then after you do it, how mentally strong you become. But the interesting thing was when I did that race, the race was just under 7 hours. It was 6 hours and 50 minutes. And I set a goal for 7 hours. The interesting thing is when I crossed the finish, like there was this whole amped up 6 months worth of exercise training. My whole life was changed. Like I was waking up at 4, I was doing all this stuff. And then the anticipation and just everything around it, it was my life. And then when I crossed the finish line, it was almost like, okay. It was so weird. It was such a weird, surreal experience. It's hard to describe. But I mean, not the first minute, but after maybe 10 minutes after, I'm just thinking like, okay, like what now? Like, I don't know if I expected like something else. It's just so strange. And then, you know, and I think that's what Adam was talking about with wealth and money. You know, I worked my way. I had this whole huge goal of getting into Gary Keller's mastermind. And it took me years and I finally got in, and then I was in and I was just like, okay, so now I'm in. Great. It's just the same karma. We just talk about recruiting people all the time, but it's just, it's interesting. So anyway, that's my one of my takeaways is, you know, and it has to be more inside. It's an inside job. And if we're relying on things on the outside to give us that feeling, to give us that happiness, to make us feel more connected, I think we're missing it. You know, some of the best parts of my days now are when I go down and spend time with my 3-year-old and my 7-year-old. It's absolutely amazing. And, you know, and in the midst of all the chaos going on with my real estate business, my coaching business, my everything. And I just have to take a break, shut everything down and go spend time with my little ones. So anyway, that said, I'd love to hear from some other people.
That's cool. I got into Gary Keller's mastermind too, but I snuck in.
What'd you do?
That's a true story.
What did he say? I didn't even care. I missed it.
I got into Gary Keller's mastermind, but I snuck in.
Oh, then, well, hey, if you're in, you're in. That's it, right?
You were sitting next to me. You were sitting next to me.
That's the last one, right?
Yeah, they were gonna kick me out, and you like waved me in. I was like, "Yeah, let's go."
Awesome, brother. Awesome. Yeah. So let's hear some takeaways and then we'll wrap it up and we'll call it a day. Love to hear kind of a few takeaways. Rob, what'd you take from this conversation? Rob Wiseman.
What did I take from the conversation? I liked what he said about mindfulness and meditation. I think it connects a little bit to, I think, last week's Thrive talk when the guest didn't show up and it was sort of an impromptu speaking by Devin, maybe? I forget his name.
Yeah, Devin. Yep.
He spoke a lot about noticing when certain emotions are affecting how you behave in a certain situation.
Awesome.
I think mindfulness is how you do that.
Yeah. Amen, man. Thanks. I'm glad I called on you, bro. Anybody else want to share anything? Or you want me to start?
I think that the best line was self-mastery is overcoming the voice inside your head, because this is everything in life is mindset. You know, so you have to have that anytime, anywhere attitude, you know. You can take it on.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It's all mindset. Everything we're talking about today starts with mindset. And I love how, Adam breaks it down. Like, it's funny, when you listen to him, because it's so easy for him to just talk about how he hires talented people and then lets everything go and lets them do everything and doesn't do anything. But for the average, for me, it's hard to get to that place where I am going to hire people and let them do everything.
But I don't think he was lazy. Yeah. He said he was lazy. And I think he just is the idea guy. He's got the ideas and he finds people to put them in place. And he's probably pretty good at hiring. I'm terrible.
He spent a lot of time doing that, So at some point though, he knew that was the way to do it. And I think some of us, like me, I was taught hard work. I'll outgrind anybody. I'll spend 9 hours on the phones to set an appointment if I have to. But that only gets you so far. And I think that's might be one of the differences I've learned in the last couple of years.
So at what point in his life did he realize all of this self-reflection? And I wonder how old he was. That was my question for him, is at what point did you realize you needed to back away? How old were you? Where were you at in business? Did it start 5 years ago, 10 years ago?
Yeah. Yeah. He started young. I know that. So, all right. Well, listen, we appreciate you guys again. Next month, 4:00, we'll be on at 4. My friend Jarek's going to be with us. And, we definitely appreciate you guys being here today and spending your time and investing your time, and let some other people know about it. We had 70 people signed up. 70. That's how many people actually registered, and not enough. Not as many. I'd say less than 25% of those showed up. So let's figure out how we get more people engaged. Let's get let people know this is an awesome conversation to be in, and it's a good use of your time. And we just want to keep growing and giving back to people. That's the goal here. So anything else before we finally wrap? Anybody have anything they want to share, or they have a product, or they have something that they want to let other people know about, or something going on? All right.
I'll 35 calls next week, David. I got my whole team signed up.
Oh, awesome. Dude, I'm excited to work with your team. That'll be amazing, man. So, thanks for reminding
5 of us on there.
So we've got the 35 call challenge. Brandon, you may want to jump on that again. We're going to focus on FSBOs the whole week. It's just FSBOs. That's it. We're going to change it up. We're going to go hyper-focused, for sale by owners for 5 days. Next month, we'll probably do expires, but we're going to make 35. Yeah, we're going to go all in. And I've been doing voice drops to these for sale by owners. I got 2 calls back today, and it's setting appointments. And you know what? The interesting thing that's working with for sale by owners is I'm leaving messages about cash offers, like cash as is. That's an option. I'm saying we have options, and they're calling back because they want to learn more about the cash offer. Really, something I never would have thought.
Rob just got certified. He got certified for the express offers. He got it today, actually.
That's awesome.
It's not available here yet, but he got his cert. So yeah, we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, amazing. All right, any final thoughts? Anybody?
David, have you already sent out the sign up for the 35 calls?
You can just go to the website, 35callchallenge.com,
Okay.
get signed up right now. I sent out some emails, but yeah, just go right now, get signed up, lock your space. I am going to shut it off at 24. So I think there's still a few spots left. So if you want to get in there, it'd be great to have you again too.
Okay.
You know, we're going to go hyper-focused, a lot of accountability. It's going to be amazing. So listen, it was awesome. We had Adam Hergenrother. We had Tim Paulson. Dude, Tim Paulson, I don't know, you saw the artwork he has in the background. He sells those paintings for $25,000 a piece. The guy's no joke. I mean, it's really, really cool. So anything, listen, these are the kind of people that we want to get you around and introduce you to. And that's the point.
Awesome. Thank you.
Doing this. So I just want to say one last time, anything final thoughts, questions, concerns?
Good.
All right, everybody, you rock.
All right, David, thanks so much.
Check this out on Path to Mastery podcast. Thank you, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Next month. Actually, November. What's the second Thursday in November? I want you to add it to your calendar. If you're listening, just add it to your calendar right now. Hold on, let me set this up.
November 12th.
All right, November 12th, 4 p.m. is going to be the time for the next meetup. Let's be on there. Don't just sign up, show up. That's gonna be my new tagline. Don't just sign up, show up. All right. Yeah. So we'll see you November 12th. Hey, you guys, thank you so much for coming on, investing your time. I hope this was useful for you. And if I can do anything, email me, Facebook message me, whatever, call me. I'm happy to do whatever I can to help you. Okay.
Thanks.
You guys rock. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, Masters, 45 seconds. That's all I ask. I appreciate you listening to the show. I don't know if I say that enough, but I know you can invest your time wherever you choose. So thank you for spending it here with us. Remember, if you want any information on me or my events coming up, just go to my website, which is davidihill.com. Again, davidihill.com. Click on the events tab. You've got webinars, you've got past webinar replays. Everything is there. You can also get access to our sponsors there if you click on the affiliates link. So again, everything is at davidihill.com. And we'd love to have you join us on our Facebook community, which just go to Facebook and search groups, which is Path to Mastery. And finally, as you know, you can get yourself a free book by going to davidsfreebook.com. My friends, again, I just want to say I appreciate you spending time with us. Oh my gosh, I forgot the review. If you would, it helps so much if you'd be willing to go give me a review, and then email a review to me at david@davidihill.com. Email it to me. I'll read it on air for you. And I just want to say I appreciate you again for listening to the show. You rock. Enjoy the rest of your day.